Okay, welcome back to another part of where I play this game. I didn't play this yesterday, so let's load this up. Getting close to the end of the year. Somewhat. Let's go over here. We've read this, right? Yeah. Something I've not experienced since I left the Vestals. Ending the Atheists. It was announced by the palace that our most glorious and most pious Emperor Septimius Severus favorably responded to the Senate's concern about the spread of foreign superstition. The Emperor approved the proposal of measures to be taken against the followers of the cults hostile to the Roman state and to mankind, especially those atheists who deny the existence of the Olympian gods and worship instead a crucified criminal from Judea. The prefect of the city and the praetorian prefect are authorized to implement the said measures. Any further information as regards the infamous activities of the said cult will be fully appreciated and rewarded.
I knelt at his feet, my head in his lap, and I sobbed that I knew he wasn't my father and that the beast known as Commodus was. He told me he had tried, but he could never forgive what had happened between my mother and that cruel gladiator passing as emperor, and I was a constant reminder. He said it was time I knew everything, and that was when he told me my mother was still alive.
Right. I also find this kind of weird, like how are all these scrolls like telling the truth? I don't really know if whatever Sanctus is writing is the truth, or like why. These are just his diaries, right? I mean, I don't think, why would he lie, or why would anyone lie in their diary or pretend to be a criminal when you're not? Before the common meal on these solis, our hosts bow their heads in prayer. From the cult's holy book, the priest reads stories of the world's creation, the early history of the Jews and their lawgiver, and the beginnings of what they call their own ecclesia, the new Israel. Some passages are most beautiful and would put to shame the so-called great Roman poets. A gift. The emperor did give me a pleasant duty to perform, one that enormously improved my day. He ordered me to deny Sybil the new lease for next year at the Tenors Funeral Guild's buildings. It gave me such pleasure to see the look of disappointment on that hideous woman's withered face. I also regained a sense of control of my own future. I will survive these disasters. Stella would want me to. AD Cull. November. Well, it was just a month away. I thought it was closer, but yeah. Distress. I have just learned that a group of cult members, all of them slaves or lowborn, were informed upon and arrested. I have no doubt they will be sentenced to horrible deaths. Romans will flock to the circus to see them die, but I will never go. I cannot bear to think about it. Callistus and his friends fear they will be next. Something must be done. Prophecy. Visions are scratching at my mind, eager to be let it. I don't understand this sentence. Visions are scratching at my mind, eager to be let it. I don't know. I see a figure. The shadow whispers it is Calamitis. 5 pointed stars shatter, and I hear noises of war. The figure flees under an arch. The images are so real. What do they mean? In my mind's eye, is my mind's eye opening again after all these years? Beliefs. This is weird though. It was like 6. I think 2 days in a row Verania had a thing. Beliefs. So much of this new cult seems familiar to me. I see the serenity of the believers, and I recognize myself before I chafed in the vessel bonds. I remember the quiet joy of confidently possessing faith in a god, and the ritual of taking the bread and the wine reminds me of the sacrifices of Mola Salsa and wine that I would offer to Vesta at her shrine. This new faith, in some sense, is not so different from my old faith. I'm also a little bit confused, because if it's like over a month to the next event, like, are we missing an event, or what's going on here exactly? It's a lion in a cage. Work. I had to oversee repairs at the Colosseum. The gates that release the animals into the arena keep coming off their supports. The beasts were kept in their cages, but I could see the blood in the hair around their mouths. The stench of animal excrement and human flesh filled the caverns below the arena. I found it difficult to breathe and worked my laborers quickly. Whoops. The Act of Justice. Following the imperial response to the senatorial deliberations last month, a crowd of non-believers in the Olympian gods has been informed upon and arranged by the Praetorian Guard. Since the inquiry revealed that none of the criminals enjoys full Roman citizenship or the privileges of the honestiores, they were submitted to summary justice at the court of the most eminent Praetorian prefect Papianius, and after their refusal to renounce their creed and sacrifice before the statues of the gods and the emperor, were sentenced to death in the arena. Executions will start at the Flavian Amphitheater tomorrow. Long live the emperor and the empire. A secret place. I have found the way into the interior of the Arch of Severus. When I was working with Gordian at the Tabularium, he used to hint that there was a secret door to enter the arch. I had forgotten to search for it, but the other night I went out exploring and found the opening in the side of the arch near the rostra. It had been left open. The top of the arch offers a very special view of the forum. So what's this? It's on top of the arch, right? That's this. No, we had this before. So this is to the top of the arch, right? It's a pretty good view, if you don't mind pixels. '87 ID December. Well, Maybe we should write that down. I don't think I have any pens that even work, but who knows. I guess we do. That should be like the final puzzle, or close to endgame. I don't know. Maybe it's not exactly the final thing to do. So this is on top of the arch, but I think that this is then the secret tunnel. Right, and that goes all the way to here. I don't know why would he not know about this, because I'm pretty sure that Sanctus is just... He's either living here or is he he's had plenty of time in these territories. Or maybe I'm just wrong, I don't know. I really don't understand why people write what they write, and like is it like really like real time that they're writing something on the date exactly? Like I think it was off a few times as well, where it was like, oh, Sanctus says something that he did with Verania, and there was like Verania said it was a day later, and it's I don't know. The Dalmatian. Cotis informs me that he has joined the new cult founded by the man from Judea, despite the recent arrest of its members, and he dares to say it won't interfere with his duties. He is content to remain a slave, he says, because he will soon be in a better place where he will be free. This kind of talk upsets me, but I can always deal with him as I dealt with Crixus. The air turns crisp again, and a spicy Syrian stew would be welcomed by anyone, even an arrogant slave. Yeah, just poison him as well. That totally wouldn't cause any suspicion. Also, like, sentencing people to death in the arena, is that like trying to discourage them from actually getting the belief, or is it also just giving it a platform to show it off? I saw Emperor Marcus Aurelius only once, the day he pronounced me a Vestal, and then he was gone to war, but I have read his writings, and I believe this new faith would have interested him had he studied it better. Marcus believed a virtuous life led to spiritual peace. He also believed that a God is in all things, and we must be of service to our fellow creatures. He also believed that a God is in all things. Must have been cut off there, the mid-sentence. And we must be of service to our fellow creatures. I believed he yearned for his new faith, this new faith, but did not recognize its name. So we find a few typos in this game, or even like missed words, or like words cut off, or wrong commas or something like that, but that's okay. Mostly it's pretty good. Sometimes there was a bit of a different font on some of these pages, which is confusing, but it's not confusing, but it's weird that we just have different fonts somewhere. It must have been forgotten. Horror. I decided on the spur of the moment to go to the games at the Colosseum yesterday. What a disgusting spectacle. Cult members, some of whom I recognized, were enthroned to the wild beast. I was sickened and outraged. I thought constantly of Rania. I thought I spotted Gordian in the crowd, but I could not be sure. Whoever it was seemed as distressed as myself. Let's read back then. I thought it was Sanctus that said, oh, I will definitely not go to the... I will never go. I guess Verania will never go, but Sanctus just happened to go, and it was like, oh, well, that was not very nice. Mother. She is very ill and is being cared for by members of a new cult that was founded during the reign of Tiberius by a man from Galilee. She is also a believer in their faith. I stood in the doorway watching as the medical woman tended to her in bed, her hair spread out on the pillow and the graying tresses surrounded her pale face. I had no memory to match her face to, but I had my own face to compare. I looked so much like her. Even if she was very ill, he looked like her. My view. XP, Sun, Trident. That so-called atheist cult is not that different from any other cult. It too will fade or thrive in very small groups or in quiet corners of the empire. Severus is not the first emperor to persecute their kind. One would expect oppression to make them stronger as they fight back. But these people seem to embrace death. Dying is not a very good way to spread the message of your faith. Yeah, that's true also. So what does she say then? One would expect oppression to make them stronger as they fight back. But these people seem to embrace death. Dying is not a very good way to spread the message of your faith. Well, let's continue. Family. I was delivering food to some other members of the community when I saw Lucius with an older woman who was apparently ill. That's a weird way to say things. The medical women were caring for her, but they told me they did not know who the young man was who visited her. I watched from the doorway as he looked down at her in her sick bed. For some reason I thought of my mother and sisters. I wonder who the woman is to Lucius. A star. One cult member stood out from the others. She stood proud as she was tied to a leopard. She smoothed her hair, and it was in that gesture that I saw my Stella running her fingers through her own hair. The animal mauled her, but she refused to die. A gladiator came forward with a knife, but he hesitated. She took his shaking hand and guided his knife to her own throat. I shut my eyes as she dispatched herself. So that was the thing that Gordian didn't like to see. Well, was I gonna say something about this again? I don't know. I was gonna say that Sanctus seems to be in the right places though. Now he sees Lucius here, he sees Gordian there, or like, I don't know. The real cause. There remains little doubt that the recent crimes at the Forum and its neighborhood were committed by the loathsome Eastern cult of non-believers. They caused the disaster of the Forum Boreum, hitting at our food supply in hope that this could frighten us into obedience to their non-existent god, and they flooded the temple of the defied Julius to subvert our piety that will not deity their own mad founder. One should not be impressed by the false serenity those convicts appear to assume at the face of death, which is just another sign of the frenzy responsible for all their outrages. So now they're trying to blame the disaster at the Forum Boreum, which is basically the animal market. And they're also trying to force on them the flooding of the temple. So that's interesting.
She held her hand out to me and I took it. Around her neck, she wore a fish made from silver. She told me it was a symbol of her faith because the Greek word for fish contained the initials of the cult founder's name. She told me that she had always loved me, and that she had begged to take me with her when she went away. And that, for better or worse, I was a true Roman and a good man. For the second time in as many months, I wept.
Oh no. Twice in 2 months he had cried. A non-believer. Xanthus and I argued again. He still sees no benefits at all to Rome's existence, but I see that this new cult will need the roads of Rome in order to spread its words. Civilization must be maintained. The eagle, that is Rome, just needs to have her wings clipped, so her bloodlust and degradation will fade. I believe there is much of Rome that is good, and that this new belief can use it to grow, but Xanthus is stubborn, and he closes his eyes to my views.
I am Sybil. The jaws of the lions close on the followers of the man from Galilee. The teller of parables is no more, but his words live on, until they are extinguished in the bellies of the beasts in the Colosseum. Return to the stars. Return to the oracle. Return to Sybil.
Right. That's the only thing we have here. Descent. Verania and I continue to disagree. She says that there are good aspects to Rome, and they must survive. I believe if the chance is there to destroy evil, then I must take it. The empire persecutes our new friends, and the hate rises in me even more than before. In the heat of argument, I completely disagree with Verania. But when the night is quiet and we sit by the fire, I become unsure. She has a very convincing way about her. Carnage. I don't know why I did it. But after some hesitation, I finally decided to attend the games in the Colosseum. I have seen many things, but I was not prepared for the sight of dozens of helpless cult members, men and women, being mauled by wild beasts. Apparently the carnage had been going on for several days, the crowds getting larger every day. I felt weak as I forced my way out through the crowds. The walls of the Clivus Capitolinus were spinning around me as I reached home and collapsed. Progress. The new temple is almost completed. Soon I can lock the doors and prepare for the inauguration when the auspices are read. I must hurry if I am to finish before the investigation into my finances stops work. I have tried to cover my actions and have borrowed heavily from the money lenders in the forum to replace the money I borrowed from the tabularium funds. So he's taken loans to repay loans. That's interesting. I think people often will tell you not to do that kind of stuff. Hard to imagine. The priestly authorities have come to believe that the great Jupiter's wrath resulted last month in the collapse of the finance office. That the building was struck by the thunderbolt is certainly due to the nefarious practices of the atheist and illicit Eastern cult, which is now under special investigation. It was discovered that a group of cult followers gained access with the help of bribery to these premises for their nightly secret gatherings. Although the guilty keep protesting the innocuous nature of their rites, their cult's deviant reputation suggests the worst things possible, including incest and cannibalism. The fury of Father Jupiter does not surprise. They're just blaming it on the atheist again. Also claiming their deviant reputation. Well, let's see, another view. The medical woman told me my mother didn't have long to live, but they believed she would go to a better place when she died. This cult seems to welcome death as a preferred alternative to life. No wonder emperors have been trying to stomp it out for over 175 years. So it was 175 years, which I read earlier, but then it was in Roman numerals. Life is what it's all about, and you only get one to live. And mine has been messed up thoroughly, and I don't know if it's worth salvaging. Well, I mean, Lucius' life is pretty messed up because he's pretty much been uncertain all his life, right? Of like, oh, where do I belong? And he never fitted in, even with the man who pretended to be his father, which it wasn't his father. And then it's just he finds out it wasn't his father. Everything is just great, but partially also every action and everything you do yourself is pretty much your own responsibility, right? Of course, this has collapsed, okay. I didn't see this from the other side. I just stumbled upon it. I guess it makes sense that it's exactly this. Does this door ever open? Or maybe you come out of this door at some point. I don't know. Geneva even. Jerusalem, Massilia. Oh well. Let's read some more. The Pope, the leader of the community here in Rome, came to visit. His name is Sephirin, and he conducted the rituals himself. I watched as he cleansed new believers in water and then fed them the holy bread and holy wine. The new believers appear so filled by the rituals. It is as if they were unfinished, and this faith completes them and gives them direction. Is this what I have been looking for? More prophecy. My mind's eye seems to blink open for just a moment. I see the Arch of Severus, conquered barbarians carving in stone. I see vessels. No. I see the pentagonal courtyard of the Regia. I see the house of the vessels. I must find my student. She has true powers and will be able to guide me. I must find her, so she may assist me in rediscovering the full force of my mind's spirit. I don't know how many times Sybil has actually said that she needs to find her assistant, or I wonder where she is. But I don't really know if Sybil has done a whole lot practical stuff to actually figure that out. Oh no. Let's just go over here. Calendar November. It's so long still since that happened. A new mentor. I have met the head priest of the community here in Rome. His name is Zephirian, and he reminds me of my previous teachers, Serapion in Alexandria and Gordian here in this city. He speaks so eloquently of his beliefs. He tells me of the man from Galilee who was a carpenter from the bottom of society and moved people to believe in him, even as he suffered the most shameful death of crucifixion. His large hands hold the holy scrolls as his smooth, rumbling voice utters wisdom. My sad friend. I passed Lucius lying drunk in the street. I sat on the edge of the footpath and watched over him for a while so hooligans wouldn't rough him up. But he looked as if it had already happened. I tried to carry him, but he was way too heavy. Then I went to Quintus's wine shop and told him where he could find Lucius. Quintus rolled his eyes and went back to drying out a cup with a rag. So who's carrying him then? Lucius. I guess it must have been Gordian trying to carry him, but then pulling him down again. Another loss. A few days together, and then she's gone. My mother is dead. Her bed was empty when I got there. The bedding was pulled smoothly over the vacant couch. The cold woman kept nattering about being with some man in a better place. They buried her in a place known as the catacombs, where others of her face were interred. She is gone again. What do I have left now? I guess it's kind of nice that Lucius got to see his mom like right before she wasn't there anymore. I don't think he told her that she had a son, that he was arrested. While Xanthus and I were at the market buying food, it finally happened. What we all knew to fear. Our friends were taken away by the guards. The Praetorians destroyed the rooms, throwing about furniture and belongings, and desecrating the holy place and the altar. On the floor I found Callistus's fish that he wore around his neck, hidden under his tunic. The guards must have ripped it from his neck. It was covered in blood. Oh no. No need for proof. Several members of another cell of the atheist cult have been apprehended. They include, besides the usual riffraff, some Roman citizens and even the honestiores, such as their leader, the Egyptian Callistus, who will stand trial before the emperor. As is their custom, the cult members willingly confess their faith, but are obstinate in their refusal to admit the iniquities they perpetuate for the sake of it. But since this is a matter of public knowledge, it does not require any further proof. Regrettably, the cult's high priest, whom they call the Episcopos of Rome, has so far succeeded in escaping detention. so they didn't get the man Xanthus saw the other day. Also Vrania. Past and present. Vrania and I returned from the market to find Callistus and the others arrested. A neighbor told us that the Praetorians came for them in the late morning. They kicked in the door, and as they threw furnishings about, a piece of cloth caught fire. The blaze went out quickly, but part of the kitchen was charred. Once again, I saw the flames that destroyed my village in the north of charred remains. Destroyed my village in the north, and the charred remains after the Roman soldiers had left us to bury our deaths. The end of war. The Armilustrium will be celebrated in a few days. I have always been more than pleased with my chosen occupation, but since Stella's death, I have wondered where other roads might have taken me. What if I had been a soldier and fought in battles defending Rome? What if I had become a Salian priest and danced in procession on my way to the ritual sacrifice? What if I had joined the brigands and attacked Rome with cunning? Yeah, I don't know. What if you died? Let's see, we need a few more days. I don't know if I can fix this puzzle as soon as this episode is over, so that's a bit awkward. A discovery. I scoured the forum looking for my lady student. I climbed the Palatine Hill, and just inside the palace gardens, I saw her. She was strolling with my attendants and picking flowers. A clerk rushed to her with a scroll. Addressing her as he approached, I could not believe my ears. My student is Julia Dumna, the emperor's wife. My countrywoman, my empress, has more powers than I ever imagined. Am I saved? So the emperor's wife was Sybil's student, so that kinda gives Sybil some praise, I guess, for doing a decent job at educating. Festival of the Armilustrium. Tomorrow marks, by tradition, the end of the war season, when the shields of Mars are purified by the priests and put away in the regia. I may have failed as a soldier, but I feel as if I've been through many battles this year. I walked to the square on the Aventine Hill, where tomorrow's festivities and sacrifice will take place. I look out over the city and wished my mother better fortune in death than either of us had in life. In praise of Mars, today the capital celebrates the festival of the Armilustrium, with the rite of purification and the ceremonial dance of the Salian priest on the street starting near the Regia. All this was originally designed to mark the end of the traditional war season, but now that there is no more war, and the nation enjoys the golden age of prosperity due to the efforts and majesty of our Emperor Septimius Severus, the holiday has become an emblem of Roman might and the means of thanksgivings to Mars Victor, son of Jupiter, father of Quirinius, the beneficent divine protector of the eternal city. War. The Salian priest celebrated the Armilustrium. They leaped and danced in military dress and carried arms and sang their ancient songs. After the sacred shields of Mars were purified, they were put away in the Regia. Custom says that this day must signify the end of the war season, but I believe a new war is just beginning between Rome and the new phase, founded by the man from Galilee. Who will win? Calamitis. The Regia was broken into. The ancient days, the Regia was connected to the... In ancient days, the Regia was connected to the House of the Vestals by an underground passage. In those days, the Pontifex Maximus lived in the Regia, but that was a long time ago. Today, the shields of Mars were desecrated, and there was no one to stop it. Calamitis, or whoever it was seen fleeing under the Arch of Severus. I mean, Xanthus just about a few days ago, or maybe a couple of weeks ago, just found the way of the shortcut, and then there's this Gordian seeing him flee under the Arch of Severus, like... I think I will, I don't know. Should we even try this puzzle? I guess we should try this puzzle. Let's see what's going to happen here. Let's look around. If there's anything to see. So this has a V on it. I don't really know what any of this means. No, this has an X on it. Is that even good? Don't think so. I don't really know. It's supposed to be an A? Or a V? Don't think that really means anything. This door doesn't open. So this is a V? Or is it an A? I don't really know the orientation of these as well. It's very vaguely, it has letters on it. A P? Okay. I guess we did it. PAX, was it? So that's probably what we need to fill in here. Because Pax means peace. Interesting stuff. So we have shields here, and emperors. This is probably going to be like a trial and error for us here. I do remember Julius Caesar Galilei, right? Septimius Severus. So we have Brihana, we have Egyptus, Dacia, and Arabia. Let's see, Gordian. No, that's not where we look up stuff about emperors. Lucius then. Julius Caesar. Augustus. Augustus Egypt. I don't know. Let's say Augustus Egypt, right? The new order. Augustus claimed that he restored a republic. I don't know. Augustus Polygian. A city in marble. Tiberius. Are we... Do we have Tiberius here as well? No, we don't. So like Augustus is Egyptian? Yeah, definitely don't check that. So we don't have Tiberius. Or maybe Tiberius has another name. Not really, I don't think. Reign of Terror. Caligula. Little Boots. The Madman. Caligula's Demise. 3 years only. Claudius. Seemed reluctant to accept the purple. Britain. What is even Britain? Britannia? Claudius Britannia. I don't even know if these stick like this. I don't I don't have any idea. So we have Claudius, then we have Nero. I don't know if Nero was in between any of those names there. Nero's downfall. Galba. Galba, because of his reputation. Otto. Germany. Then we have Vitellius. Judea. Tiber. His corpse was thrown in a Tiber. Vespasian. I have no idea. I also don't know if these even stick. No. I should probably try this out when I know what I'm doing better. We can definitely trial and error that, but I've already forgotten who was Britannia. Like Augustus. Then we have Egyptus, Julius. No. I've already forgotten what I've read. I just don't even know. Julius Caesar was Galilee, right? I don't even know if this is even correct as well. I guess if it covers up the name, then it should be fine. Then we have Egyptus. Which was that? Claudius? Right? If I put Dacia there, that was not good. We should probably start at the beginning here. Right? So what do we have left? Arabia? Julius Caesar is then Egypt. No. Galilee. Augustus. Egypt. No. Britannia. Then we have Tria. Must have been Dacia then. No. I think this is correct though. If we go for from the left to the right, if we make a mistake, we'll just drop all. Right? So Severus was Arabia, right? Julius Caesar, Gallia, Augustus. No, that does not seem right. DeWitt. Oh well. I'm just gonna stop here. It's been too long. I'll have this puzzle finished very fast. I'll be sure of it, but I can just keep trying for an hour at this rate, so goodbye. Goodbye as I stop.